Hey YouTube, F True Wrestling here, Brian Crazy,
JC Styles,
and this is the holiday edition. Happy holidays to all of you out there. Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates it. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, have a happy and safe one. We're back with TNA.
From 12/16/2010.
2010.
So we're going to get right into it. First thing of the night, Matt Morgan, Mr. Anderson had a funny little in-ring promo to be interrupted by Jeff Hardy. Basically, they went back and forth with each other talking about the consequences of wrestling with concussions. A real heartfelt, sincere, valid points made by Matt Morgan that we, the fans, do care about the wrestlers, and that when we tune in every week, we expect, the well-being of the wrestlers. We respect them, not to be confused with how Jeff Hardy bashed the fans the Thursday after Bound for Glory. But, Matt Morgan basically went on to say, hey, what was the promise we made to Christopher Nowinski? And Mr. Anderson basically looked at him and was like, I got him on speed dial.
Yeah. And I thought it was real good that they did involve, Christopher Nowinski's Concussion Institute into their discussion. I think I do agree with a comment that CJ from ADTV made, that Matt Morgan, he makes a lot of kind of sly humor that a lot of maybe the younger fans or a lot of fans that aren't quite as intellectual as me and JC might not pick up. But when you do pick up on Matt Morgan, it's either you like him or you don't. I gotta say, I do like Matt Morgan. What do you have to say about him?
I like Matt Morgan because he's from Connecticut,
Fairfield,
which is, I think, about a 30-minute drive from here to there.
About an hour.
About an hour?
About an hour, yeah.
So, just the fact is that they're actually, working this kind of into the storyline, because it makes it seem like Matt Morgan doesn't want to wrestle Anderson, given knowing that he just came off of a fresh concussion. Also, basically just going out there and saying, hey, you know what though, once from bell to bell, I'm not your friend, but before and after bell, I'll be your best friend.
Exactly, and I think they've kind of created, a partnership backstage, especially, Matt Morgan gave up his whole position. He gave up being an immortal, being in fortune, to stand up for what he believed was right. And I mean, that's pretty powerful, that your beliefs are so strong to stand up for what you believe in. You basically cost yourself your guaranteed paycheck every week.
Exactly. Then Jeff Hardy came out and basically said, basically just came out bashing,
I mean, be honest though, when you walked out, what was that guy on? It didn't even look like he could stand.
I think that's his whole gimmick.
I mean, it's
kind of like the not caring type. He basically comes out and, a couple of quick funny jokes that Matt Morgan made. Hot Topic wants the belt back, so you better bring it back. Mr. Anderson basically said, hey, your makeup's running. Making comments making him look like he was a woman. You want to move on to the first match of the night?
Yeah, basically in closing, I really think Jeff Hardy's
selling the heel.
Yeah, he's selling the heel, but I think it's already started to run its course, and I think it's time for a change, and hopefully at Genesis we'll get a change. Right now there isn't even a title match booked for Genesis. There's just a #1 contenders brawl. What do you have to say about this? Hasn't there been a title match at every Genesis for the last 5 years?
Yeah, and I'm also kind of shocked that Final Resolution and Turning Point, they haven't even done Feast or Fired this year. And for a lot of you who don't know Feast or Fired, they hang a briefcase from each, 4 briefcases each from each turnbuckle, and basically one has a contract for a title shot at the World Champion, the X Division, the TNA tag titles, and there's a pink slip. Now that they have the actual television championship, there's probably going to be 5, so they'll probably have a ladder in the middle of the ring with the 5th briefcase for a title shot for that. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they were only a couple of weeks, like almost 2-3 weeks away, and then we still don't have a main event booked. But you know what? Maybe TNA is saving it for something special. Maybe a returning Kurt Angle.
Maybe a returning Kurt. Well, I think later on the night we'll touch a little more on what I project to be Kurt Angle's return. For the next contest, though, we'll jump right into it. It was for the X Division Championship, which has gone back and forth the last couple weeks. This was Robbie E. with Cookie. Defending against Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal for the X Division title. And just a quick little Taz funny comment that he made. As we all know, Taz is from Brooklyn, Robbie E is from Jersey, and the whole, when he does the fist pump and he's like, I think it's funny. Then TNA starts doing it, and he's like, oh, what are you trying to steal my thing now? And he basically says, well, no, here's the thing. It's from New York to Jersey. It's not for the East Coast guys, not the West Coast. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Definitely did.
All that, the rules of fist pumping apply to Mike TNA. I think that's kind of funny. But let's get into the match. What did you think? Was it a strong match?
Robbie E really didn't show too strong. I think Jay Lethal showed really strong. I think they really have tried to bring back prestige to the X Division title with showing Jay Lethal so strong in this match against Robbie E. I think they really want to make it a serious championship yet again, like he used to be in the past. And I think by having Robbie as their champion going into Genesis, I think that would probably hamper buy rates.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like Jay Lethal, and I was always fond of the very young talent in TNA. Jay Lethal was one of the few that I actually started interested in, that got me interested in watching TNA, along with like Daniels, Joe, AJ, and I kind of think, like Brian said, I kind of think that having the title change hands on an Impact kind of might have screwed up maybe a nice little pay-per-view match.
Well, what I was more or less trying to say is, not to interrupt you, but is I think giving the title to Lethal before Genesis can set up a real good contest at Genesis, Lethal versus somebody else, not Robbie E, is what I'm trying to say. Put him against an X Division competitor.
Maybe
put him against Amazing Red. They'll deliver.
Maybe, let's see, I could think of a match that they
put against Saban. Put him against Shelley. I mean,
you can't, because Shelley and Saban are the tag champs.
So they're a tag champ. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
I hear. You have a X Division champion, new X Division champion. You have an upcoming pay-per-view. You have so many X Division stars.
Like who?
You got Jay Lethal, Amazing Red.
Champion. So who would you go against?
You have Amazing Red. You got Brian Kendrick. You have, let's see, who else? You got Kazarian.
You caught the whole part with Brian Kendrick because the sensei, right?
Yeah. You have Kazarian. You got Alex Shelley and Jay Lethal. Even though that they are Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, even though that they're champions.
Yeah, back to that. They can hold dual belts at the same time.
They also have, they got a whole roster full. Why not bring back Ultimate X? We haven't seen an Ultimate X match since this early summer, and that was botched to all hell.
We haven't seen a good Ultimate X contest before Hogan and Bischoff came to TNA.
Yeah. I believe the last good X Division Ultimate X match we saw was when Suicide won it last year in 2009. Early 2009. So, I mean, if that's the last good Ultimate X match that they actually had, they should bring it back. Do I agree with Jay Lethal getting the title? Of course. Do I believe it should have been on a pay-per-view? Yes.
Well, I think if they do set up a big match at Genesis, it was a right idea to take it off Robbie E, put it on Lethal, so they can amp up the pay-per-view more.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Lethal Robbie E, I've seen it, I'm tired of it, I don't want to see it again. I want to see Lethal against a serious competitor. That's it. Why not Frankie Kazarian?
Yeah, that's true. We went to a
kind of a backstage promo. We see Douglas Williams talking with Brutus Magnus. Any of you guys who follow TNA know they used to be a group called British Invasion. Sorry about that. British Invasion. And they were a fantastic tag team. They ended up splitting up. Brutus has now got a tag team with Desmond Wolfe called London Brawling. They shared a little camaraderie, talked for a second. Douglas Williams says basically he's got it all set. He goes into the trailer and he gets attacked by AJ. Now it happens to be Madison Rayne and Tara's dressing room, and they end up destroying the place. He ends up putting Doug down. If this is their way to try to make AJ look strong or cement him as a heel, I really think that AJ's been terribly misused in the last few months.
I actually kind of like how he turns around and yells at Tara and Madison Rayne and tells them to shut up, hookers.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty interesting.
I guess Eric Bischoff really got him fueled up. I mean, earlier in the night, Bischoff said, he was talking about irony, and he said, "Oh, look at Robbie E. He could have been something great, but he lost the title." And Bischoff goes, "Wait a minute. Didn't you just lose the title 2 weeks ago?"
Exactly.
Well, what are you talking about, kid? Shut up and just go prove the point.
What's with Eric Young and the TNA, finding the TNA World Title in the trash?
I think it's a brilliant idea to kind of push his character. I mean, Eric Young, yet another guy who could be something great, terribly misused. He really doesn't have an angle except for this little thing going on with Orlando Jordan, which I thought was hilarious. Eric's got the Hooter girls there, so Orlando thinking to try to get his attention, he puts on the Hooters outfit and comes out to the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty fun. And wrestled in it too, nonetheless. And you know what the shame is? When he did the spine buster with the Hooters outfit on, I was like, oh my god, because this is a good competitor. OJ is a good competitor, but
in the attire that he was wearing, it's kind of hard to take him seriously.
Well, what would you call that?
I don't have any. Regardless of what people may think, I don't have a problem with homosexuality or bi.
Neither do I.
It's 2010. We're not judging.
I love my bi women,
but when you put it on our TV every week, it's old.
Well, that's the thing with Orlando Jordan. He really wanted to do this angle in the WWE, and Vince said,
"No,
bye, pack your bags."
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I mean, if you're gonna do something more serious, I mean, they screwed up.
I like where Daniel's going.
They screwed it up with Rob Terry, and they kind of just basically tried to nail it with doing it with Eric Young. But I mean, I would kind of like to see it with someone else. I mean, Eric Young's been in the business for so long. If OJ's trying to get a break into TNA with this kind of a gimmick, he should actually go after somebody a lot more serious and a lot more higher up, like AJ or Jeff Jarrett.
He's fond of Eric Young for some reason, but moving on, that got a
But we had a tag match, Jordan versus Eric Young, Generation Me. They picked up, Eric Young and Jordan picked up the win. What would you kind of say? That would look like a inverted Cobra Clutch.
Sure did. I mean, it was a very impressive move. I think we're going to see a lot of good things out of Eric Young and OJ if they're given a chance to show it. Not just these crazy promos backstage. Real wrestling. And that's what we want to see. Next, we have Tara and Madison Rayne go against Mickie James and her mystery opponent, who turned out to be... Mystery partner, excuse me. Who turned out to be none other than... Miss Tessmacher. If you don't remember, she was Eric Bischoff's secretary, who also banged the Pope and Kevin Nash.
And also was part of Extreme Expose in ECW, of WWE's
version of ECW.
ECW. I'm not really fond of a lot of the knockouts. I'm big on Mickie James. I love her. What she does in the ring, she's a real knockout when she gets in the ring. And
I think Tara can really go too, though. I really think she can.
Not having too much to do in WWE when Miss Tessmacher was there. For her first night on Impact, I think she in-ring debut, I think she pulled it off. I think she went out there and proved that she can hang with the knockouts.
I think she did. I think she did a fantastic job. She definitely showed that she does, have the ability to learn more, grow more, and become a important part of this division. I think she just needs the chance, and I think pairing her with Mickie James against Tara and Madison Rayne is going to kind of even it up 2-2 versus the 2-1 that we've seen in previous weeks. Even though Mickie James has been able to handle both of them, she doesn't really need help, but it's nice to see her. Nice to see somebody helping her out. Next, we had Bully Ray. Bully Ray.
Just amazing Ray.
We just had to stop for a moment of silence there because in the sheer disbelievement of what they're doing with this angle, they took one of the world's greatest tag teams. Yeah, I see where they're trying to grow. Turn Brother Ray into the heel because he's always been the more heel personality and create a singles battle between the two. But I mean, Brother Ray has looked so weak in the past couple weeks. He won't fight. He's supposed to be some innovator of violence, and he's just running away like a little scared bitch with his dick between his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, grow a set and face Devon and watch him whoop your ass.
It's going to be a Genesis, so we all know what's going to happen.
Of course it's going to happen.
But it's going to wind up being in the steel cage, too. I have a feeling.
Oh, sure. Or it's going to be a tables match.
Tables match, yeah. Next match, and then Brother Ray did pick up the win against Amazing Red. Who didn't see that one coming? Amazing Red's first TV appearance in a couple of weeks, and he's got to get the holy hell beat out of him by Brother Ray.
Bully Ray.
We had Rob the Freak Terry. Was this his return match after being out with the injury?
Yes, it was. This was his return match, and
he fought the whole effing show, RVD.
Yeah, or our boys over at ADTV calls him DVR, the Pot Smoking Show. He did fight RVD, and post-match, he really cemented himself as trying to earn a place in the Immortal regime.
Which we'll get to right at the end of the, towards a little bit later on in the show. Rob Terry showed a really strong return, but I kind of figured that he returned. Wasn't going to really do much. I mean, he was really good before he got injured, but I had a feeling that going into this, I thought he was going to lose.
Yeah, when he was part of World Elite, he was really good.
Yeah, when he was part of World Elite in the British Invasion, I think the silent, the better.
Exactly.
Terry, when you don't see him, but when he get in the ring and you see him dominate somebody, that's special. But when you see him on a week-to-week basis and he's just, getting put over RVD, they're putting him over RVD. Well, putting RVD over him, I don't know.
Well, there's certain superstars that just really shouldn't ever be handed to Mike, and Rob Terry's one of them. Great in the ring, should never be handed to Mike.
No.
Moving on, we had the Double MMA Challenge for the second week in a row. And before we even get into this, I gotta say,
Master Lock Challenge. Kurt Angle's Open Gold Medal Challenge.
This is a mock.
Has been done.
No, but this is a pure mockery.
Rajit Singh, or whatever his name was in WWE back in the day, and he used to always show up on WWF Superstars Saturday morning, and he would come out and say, "What would the Americans do for the almighty dollar?" And I remember he had a freaking woman lick peanut butter off of his dirty, hairy-ass feet for $100. That's just like that. Watching the Double J MMA Challenge, another way that they could have brought Kurt Angle back.
Well, this is how they are going to bring Kurt Angle back. This is opening to Genesis. He comes out on Thursday night. He goes through Kurt Angle's special entrance elevator. He uses Kurt Angle's pyro. He uses Kurt Angle's mannerisms. I mean, he's been making people tap out with the ankle lock. I mean, yeah, it's a joke that he's fighting people from the crowd. Obviously, they're plants. But the thing about it is, he has been vicious. I mean, Jarrett is vicious.
I have a feeling Jarrett's going to wind up. Well, yeah. I mean, look who they're putting him against. They're putting him against people that are probably just breaking into the wrestling business.
Exactly, they're plants.
And but to be honest, I'm kind of hoping that one day he winds up picking somebody out of the crowd who actually knows what they're doing and actually steps up and takes it to Jarrett, like how they did with Taylor Wilde in the Awesome Kong Open Challenge, when Taylor Wilde jumped over the barrier and beat the holy hell out of Awesome Kong. Now, a lot of people remember that.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, it's not TNA, but remember WWE when Santino jumped over the barrier, and somehow picked up the win on Umaga. Yeah, he had help. He had help by Bobby Lashley, but still, I mean, crazier things have happened. But I think that if they use this angle correctly, this is a great way to break Double J back into TNA. We haven't seen him for a long time. The founder has been off air. He's had a lot of personal issues. And I mean, in his personal life, he really is seeing Karen Angle, who is Kurt Angle's former wife, and Jeff Jarrett and her are about to get married. And it created a lot of tension, and Dixie actually, behind the scenes, what you don't see on TV, Dixie actually had him go home for a while until he sorted out his stuff, because she did not need that in her office. And if they use this correctly, this can be used to break Angle back in against Jarrett. It can cement both these guys as TNA legends, and they could take it to the next level for us.
And last but not least, we had the main event. We had Morgan Anderson versus Hardy and Kazarian.
Yep, Hardy and Kazarian, kind of an interesting matchup, but I could kind of see why they did it. I mean, Kazarian's a very quick in-ring competitor. I mean, when they showed a shot of him on Thursday night, man, I thought I was looking right at Scott Hall. I really did.
Yeah, so did I. This match was pretty interesting from beginning to start. I mean, from beginning to ending. Like Brian said, it was kind of a weird mismatch for Kaz and Jeff Hardy. But I guess it kind of fits because,
two smaller, fast-paced individuals
against two of the biggest stars, two of the handful of biggest stars in TNA. You had Morgan and Anderson. I to be honest, going into this, I thought Morgan and Anderson were going to pick up the victory.
Then we got a little swerve at the end.
And we got a little swerve at the end, and you want to take that?
Sure. Well, we have Rob the Freak Terry come out and basically screw Morgan and Anderson out of the match. And I think Rob Terry's angle is he's got no allies right now. He needs to find somewhere where he fits.
Exactly.
And I think he's trying to fit in an Immortal or Fortune or the combined supergroup, whatever you want to say.
Well, there really is no Immortal. There pretty much isn't just Immortal and Fortune. It's just Mortal with the two factions as one.
No, but I mean, they still self-identify as Fortune.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's still the 4 guys in Fortune.
Which is actually kind of interesting. We didn't touch on it, but you had a promo in the back. Kaz bumps into Terry and says, "Hey, you know what? Rhino's not here anymore. So it's either you be somebody or you're gone." And I think this is kind, like Brian said, I think this is kind of a way for him to cement himself either with Fortune or with Immortal.
Now what happens?
Or maybe he might side with Team TNA, which is Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, and RVD. We don't really, and then you have Terry. Then who will be that mystery 5th person?
Well, this is kind of how I see it. I think that they are going to move Morgan out of the main event picture for a little while. I think he was a great filler athlete. I think Morgan should have been champion. I'm not a huge Jeff Hardy fan. I haven't been in years. I think Morgan should have been champion, but this is personally what I think they're going to do now.
Please stay tuned for a word from our sponsors. Hi, I'm GC Styles. Do you suffer from bloatiness, cramps, and constipation? If so, please stay tuned. Alright guys, we're back. We just had to put that in there. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Brian was in the middle of talking about his fantasy hypothesis.
Yes, I was talking about some build-up that they could possibly do at Genesis. Unfortunately, we've already got a #1 contenders match booked at Genesis, but maybe for the following pay-per-view, you could see Rob the Freak Terry cement himself in Immortal. He can go against Matt Morgan, who's going to kind of be taken out of the main event picture at that point, and then you could see Anderson go against Hardy, because that's the match everybody's wanted to see for the last few months. We've all been waiting for it, and I think that's probably the angle that they're going to go with right now.
I couldn't agree more. You know, TNA as a whole, as of late, has a big MO for giving the fans what they want, and then sometimes not what the fans want. And right now, they're really just what's going to happen. I mean, what's going to happen with Dixie? Is TNA hers again, or is Hulk Hogan and Immortal still running the show?
Well, I think the thing is, Dixie filed an injunction against Hulk Hogan only. So Eric Bischoff and Ric Flair are now running the show. Which I think that what it really comes down to, guys, I mean, in the real business world, Hulk Hogan signed on to do so many appearances per year. He's probably used up all his appearances, and that's why they're keeping him off air. Plain and simple. Same with Ric Flair. Why do you think he wasn't at the last pay-per-view? They didn't need him. I mean, to be honest, they didn't.
We've had so many Fortune Ric Flair moments on TNA Impact. It's been ridiculous. But take a couple of seconds to plug our ideas for next week. After on the 31st, me and Brian will be sitting down and doing our best of 2010 moments for TNA and WWE. And we're going to select our top 5 moments. And we're both going to have 10, but combined it's going to be 10. And we got a lot of stuff we got to skim through to choose what we're going to have. So we can't get a video up this week. I'm going to try to get you guys a pay-per-view review of TLC. And we hope that you guys will stay tuned and leave us your comments, send us messages.
And even if we don't get up a full review of TLC, if something pivotal does happen, we promise that either myself or JC Styles will make a quick update and get it up for you guys, so you got something to find out what's going on, because I know a lot of you guys out there are not going to be able to get the pay-per-view this Sunday. It's Christmas time, money's tight, we understand that. We want to be able to make sure we get, you know, that important information right to you guys. A couple quick plugs before we go. Thank you to ADTV, thank you to Straight Edge Savior, LS VTech B18C1, thank you.
Decker
9, yes. Patar. There's 2 different Terminators that post. Thank you.
Even though he doesn't check our videos, XBA325, I think it's kind of funny when he does the soda can. He's like, bang! Bang. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yep.
So, guys.
Do got to give some credit. In closing, Emmy Chells, you leave me paragraph, long thoughts. They're well done. I like reading what you have to say. Please keep commenting. And, you know, there's so many of you guys out there. Unfortunately, I've been saying this for weeks that I'd make a list and run through them real quick just to say our thank yous. But
maybe we'll do that on the New Year's Eve
exactly.
video.
Guys, you know who you are. If you've contributed, if you've left comments, you know we appreciate it. We're out of time. For F and True Wrestling, this has been Brian Crazy.
I'm JC Styles, and